All right. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
This is Laura and Kumbi, and we're here with episode 6 of our Heartbeat to Go podcast, Challenges and Transformations. And this season, we are doing our Pisces challenge. So this challenge was all about cultivating our intuition, which was super, super interesting. So Kumbi, why don't you just get us started right off the bat? Let us know a little bit about Pisces season.
Yeah, and I'll also let you know why we're cultivating our intuition, like why this is like the seasonal challenge. Mm-hmm. So Pisces is the sign that is ruled by Neptune. It is the last sign of the astrological year, and it is a mutable water sign, which means it's just like the wateriest of the water. And as we know, water relates to our emotions and our emotional body and the way that we process emotions. So most water signs are pretty in touch and in tune with their emotions, which is a great thing, which is super, super lucky thing, because emotions are such a great guidance, or gives us such great guidance, right? Mm-hmm. So Pisces is ruled by Neptune. Neptune corresponds to our sixth chakra. So this is our third eye. This is our sixth center, right in between the brows, right above the nose. And it is the very, like, the planet Neptune. Well, the themes for Pisces would be like artistic, creative, emotional, sensitive, moody, all these kinds of things that you relate to with kind of like artists in a way, but artists who are channeling their emotional energy into their work. So, which makes it so powerful, right? So it's kind of like a spin-off of Aquarius season, where what is that unique genius that you have? And Pisces season is just like, this is the time to really like bring it out of you in a creative way, in some sort of creative manifestation. So you'll find that a lot of artists have Pisces in their chart, in their either their sun sign or their personal planets. And so it's just this watery, moody, very sensitive sign. And they say that it's also the most spiritual and the most psychic. So the ruler of Pisces is Neptune. Neptune is that it's the, what is he? He's the god of water. I forget the name. What's his name? What's the guy who's the Poseidon? Poseidon corresponds to the Greek god Poseidon, and this is another. The Poseidon is it's dreamy and it's imaginative, like some of the same qualities that it brings into Pisces, but it's also very much kind of like an illusionist. So there's like a dreamy, like delusion kind of quality, kind of like an escapist kind of quality to Neptune into Pisces. Whereas you find that it's almost like, because it's the last sign in the zodiac, it's like almost, I feel like, and just because I know so many Pisces like very closely. In fact, most of the guys I've ever dated or been in relationships with have been Pisces, really? Up until just recently. I know, so weird, which is the opposite of me, Virgo. But it's like it's a struggle sometimes just to be in this physical world. Like they would much rather be lost in their dreams, lost in an alternate reality. There's a real big tendency to want to escape, like an escapist type of tendency. That's why also addiction is also really kind of another theme around Pisces. But an addiction meaning like you are attached to something that that you feel like mistakenly fills you for something that you really actually are needing to find here, on your own, as opposed to, projecting it onto something else. So this escapist, dreamy, delusional type of quality is great for somebody who likes to do creative and artistic things. And then the correspondence with the sixth center all has to do with the psychic and the spiritual connection and the psychic powers that we can develop and tune into, and that can actually fuel a lot of our creative projects or creative activities. And so having a really open and clear third eye is like being able to see into alternate realms and being able to see, like, have like visions, that like a really clear Pisces could do is like have a vision and then really be able to put that vision onto, you know, a material object or like a painting or some music or something that's like really tangible. It's like they're like the interpreter of the psychic realm. So, so the first thing that we need to do to really tap into that third eye is to really start to trust our intuition again, because these type of psychic powers, which are just like physical sense, non-physical senses, basically, it's just like just like we have taste, touch, hear, smell, like all those senses. It's the same in the psychic realm. You could be clairvoyant, you could be clairsentient, you could be clairaudient, you can be claircognizant. I mean, there's all of the different physical senses can be translated as, like, they call them the clairs in the psychic and in your psychic abilities, and that we're all born with them. They just become shut down by just not being used, being repressed, being ignored, being denied. This society, this culture, this current culture that we live in does not really, I mean, I think it's starting to change a little bit, but has not and does not really, you know, like validate or qualify non-physical senses, you know, non-physical sensory experiences even. So it's nice to know that you do have psychic abilities that are just dormant and that you can reawaken them just with practice and with awareness. And so the first step would just be to start to reawaken your intuition, which is, there's so many different ways to explain what intuition is, and you can totally tell me what you think it is. But my favorite interpretation of intuition is that it is like the voice of your soul. You know, it's like the thing that you, and that's always has your best interest. That's always looking out for you. That's always protecting you. That's always trying to inform you. That's always trying to guide you. And it's just kind of up to us whether or not we listen to it, whether we follow it or not.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I love this idea of the still small voice inside of us, because I think we, especially in our Western culture, we are so tuned into the mind and intellect and things having to make logical sense, but our intuition often doesn't make logical sense. And I think that's when you know really that you're hearing from your intuition, is like you're just, and a lot of times you're just feeling it versus really hearing like a clear message around like through your thoughts or words or something that can be proven. So it's just something that you're like sensing or feeling. We experience it more through the senses, I think, rather than the mind. And I think the hardest distinction sometimes is that like our mind, our ego, and our intuition, it all sounds like us, right? A lot of times when you can like just feel those senses. So it's just learning how to clarify what voice is your intuition versus what is your actual, just like your ego talking to you. Yeah,
I actually think that you are probably very clairsentient, meaning like you really actually feel things physically in your body. And there's lots of stories, and there's lots of people who actually use their clairsentience without telling people. You know, like there's lots of doctors who can maybe like feel their patients, where their patients are in pain, and they kind of use that as like their guidance, but maybe they just call it intuition. So I think you are probably, because you always talk about how you feel it in your body. I don't necessarily know if I feel it in my body. Because there's really, some people actually do hear voices.
Yes.
And some people actually do just get like just immediate downloads of information or ideas or thoughts.
Yeah.
And some people can actually like have visions too, like see things. So I'm not sure exactly which one is like the strongest for me. I kind of feel like maybe a claircognizance thing, like where it does just kind of download into my mind as like this like weird random idea that I have no idea where it comes from. And usually if I don't know where it comes from, like if it's really, really random, then that's signifying that it's my intuition.
Okay.
Because then it's not, because the intuition, like the your mental mind, like your intelligence, is fairly like linear. Like it's like you think this because of this, because of this, because of this. Like you can kind of trace it. Whereas the intuitive mind doesn't follow that linear construct. Like it's very, it can appear to feel very random, or just like really out there.
Yeah.
And so following those kinds of things are harder to do because it goes against like the norms of the quote unquote rules of our society and of our lives. So it takes like you just kind of having faith and trust and just some courage and just to follow it.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like when you tap into, the deeper you get into meditation or finding ways that work for you to tap into your own unique intuition, I think sometimes other parts will open up too. Because I remember working with a healer and she told me, she's like, you are clairsentient. And I never realized, but I'm like, yeah, I feel everything in my body. But then as I sort of got more into meditation, now I feel like my seventh chakra has like totally opened, and I feel like the claircognizance is opened up too. So it's just, I think sometimes we can start one way, and I have heard that we all kind of have a little bit of everything. It's just some might be stronger than others, but it's really, really fascinating.
I know it's so fascinating because like whenever you like, I love to listen to psychics and mediums, especially mediums, and or people who channel, and there's so many different ways. Like some people actually literally hear like the words, like in their minds, and then they just repeat it basically when they verbalize it. And then some people actually see like images, like symbols that represent different things, so I feel like when you're a really clear channel like that, when you can have that really clear like psychic ability, or when you are able to be like do mediumship, which is just such an interesting, like fascinating thing. Yeah. Have you ever listened to any mediums before?
Not besides like Long Island Medium, like on TBS or whatever.
I mean, even they're amazing.
Yeah,
right.
Totally, yeah.
It's so amazing, and like, it's so funny because I know like so many people discount it and think that it's like a, but I've just seen too many that were way too accurate to like really discount it. Yeah. Like it's super funny because, so my friend, a couple of my friends have gone to these pet psychics, and they're on the phone. Like they don't even meet the pet. They don't even see the pet. All you do is you describe your pet to them, and they immediately can, like this one that both of my friends went to, who is now no longer doing readings, even though I made an appointment for Snowy. We had to cancel it. She says that she actually, like embodies the animal. So she can speak as if she's like the animal. Like she speaks as if she's the cat. She speaks as if she's the dog, and then she could feel the pain. She could feel the anxiety, or she could feel whatever pain point is happening, whatever behavior thing is happening, and she can explain to the owner why. And then the owner, like my friend, had to get different kind of food for her cat, who was having like these digestive issues. But her other two cats really liked the food, and the one cat was having still stomach issues with it, and she was just thinking like, oh, she just has a sensitive stomach. No, she actually needed the different food. And she knew what kind of food she wanted. She was very specific. She's like, I want the food in the pink bag. Like it was like very specific. Yeah. And then my friend went and got the food, and she no longer has the digestive issues.
Wow.
So so that's the way that she was doing it, was like she could actually embody the animal and feel and then articulate for them. So
that
crazy.
Is so interesting. And I feel like there's times when you like walk into certain spaces where it just feels either really good or it's like real spooky, like you don't know what's going on, but like, I just feel like that's so interesting how it it can show up in all kinds of ways. And also like really with kids too, especially kids under 7.
who haven't been, gone under so much conditioning, they are super. I mean, that's all they do is live off of their intuition. They're super intuitive. So it's so important to not shut that down and to really like allow them to teach them to start trusting it.
Right.
Like I do that with Tiger sometimes when she's so indecisive. She's a Gemini. She's super indecisive about so many things. And I'm just not an indecisive person really that at all. And so sometimes I get really frustrated, but I started to be like, instead of just like making the decision for her, just being like, listen to your intuition, like close your eyes and see, do you see something? Do you feel something? Is there something telling you something, to help you with your decision? Like, don't rely on me, which, I think parents can do unconsciously, just like jump in for them to make that decision for you, like she's young enough still that she could probably still really tap into it. And it's just about, practicing that.
Trusting it.
Yeah. And trusting it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge.
So that's why intuition is so important,
Yes,
and that's why we're doing this challenge.
That's great. So good. All right. Well, let's jump right into it then. So we are doing 5 days of meditation. So we do a meditation every day.
Yes, I'll probably
6 chakra meditation.
Yeah, I'll probably re-record that. It was like I did that meditation every single time I fell asleep. Did you fall asleep? There was just so much dead time, I feel like. Or it was like a little too long, maybe.
Oh, I don't know.
Or maybe I was just too tired.
You know what I did notice is that I feel like you said something in Aquarius season where if you're feeling too out there to like cut back on meditation, I had to do that because I was feeling way too spacey.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I was feeling very, very all over the place. So I just have to go like sit under a tree and ground myself. That's how I kind of connect back to myself.
Nice. Yeah. I know. Yeah. That's good. That's such a great
good
idea
for me.
Or no. Well, what does it feel like when you meditate under a tree?
Oh my gosh, I feel so
It's the best,
grounded.
isn't it?
Yeah, because I literally will put my hands on the earth and my feet on the earth, and it feels like energy is coming into me. Like it feels like, but just like a really super strong, healthy, grounded sense of being. So it's really beautiful.
I know. I love meditating outside. I think it's the best.
Yeah. Good. It's
for
good.
Sure.
All right. So day 1, we take an adventure and we let our intuition guide us. So it's either taking a drive, a hike, a walk, a bike ride, anything that your intuition tells you to do. But you begin with a few deep breaths and just center yourself. Tell yourself that you are now going to let go of trying to control any outcomes and trust that wherever you are led is meant to be. And when you do arrive, take a moment to find a meaning and a purpose for ending up there.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I feel like I do this all of the time, just regularly. Oh. But yeah, tell me your experience.
So mine was, so I did this on Monday, and Monday was kind of a crazy day, but I had to run some errands. And so I thought after I do my errands, I'm just going to take a drive and see where I go. And so, I live in Pasadena, and I was driving around downtown Pasadena, and I was just letting myself like go down these like little back streets. And
so pretty. I love Pasadena.
It's just like, it was so great. And I think the lesson that I really took away from this, or the purpose is, and we'll get more into this on a different day too, is how much like life is out there, how many cute little restaurants, how many cute little coffee shops, all these little things that I'm surrounded by that I had no idea.
Yeah,
There's so much out there.
Yeah, especially in this city. That's what I love about LA.
City, and it's so, and they just look adorable. So I just feel like I was kind of guided that way, just to like see
just
what
to be shown
all is available.
Yeah.
So it was really great. But one thing I also did was I went to some like common places that I have to run errands and stuff, and like Target. And I decided I was going to do things differently, where I went, like I parked in a different part of their parking structure, and I went in a different doorway, and I went like about it in different ways, just to kind of like mess with my brain a little bit.
Yeah.
Which I think is good for, because I am such a creature of habit. So I was just like, have my like
no, I think
to
we
a T
all
what I
are.
would do.
Yeah.
So that, I don't know, that kind of my intuition was telling me to do that a little bit too, of just like, doing something that you're used to doing, but just doing it in a slightly different way.
Totally.
So that was kind of interesting too.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to practice doing that more too.
Yes, because that's what they say. It creates different neural pathways, right? Versus just reinforcing the same ones.
Right.
When you do the same thing all the time. And we do this so much of the same thing all the time anyways. I think I was listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he was saying 95% of our lives are just lived unconsciously.
Yeah.
Like we just continue to reinforce these routines and these habits that we do, like whether it's the way that we brush our teeth or the way that we get ready in the morning or the way that we drive to work. I mean, it's like we always are doing everything like the same.
Yeah.
Total creatures of habit.
Right.
But
I know I've been listening to this podcast about patterns and like identifying your patterns.
Yes.
And one of the things they say is like, once you've identified a pattern, like a rut that you're kind of in, like look at like what the fear is, but then what's like the opposite thing of what you would do. And so I'm really trying to practice that too. It's like, okay, what is the opposite of what I would normally do right now?
Yeah.
And can I practice doing that?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, especially for you, because your North Node is in Leo, and you really need to lean into that, which is the same for me too. My North Node is in Scorpio. So usually that's the thing. It's like the thing that you're comfortable with is the thing that you retreat back to. And so you just kind of like do that. But it's such an unconscious old pattern that, you got to break it up by leaning into the thing that's going to challenge you, or just the thing that's new and different. Yeah. That's why I'm really into Scorpio stuff lately.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Okay. So for me, it was such an incredible thing because I love living. I was just telling Tiger today when I was taking her to school. I was like, because we had to go a different route because we went somewhere else. I had to go pick her up breakfast since we couldn't be here because the power was out. And we took a different route to school, and it was just like a whole different. This isn't part of the thing, but this is an example. We were driving to school. I was driving her to school in a completely different way. And I was like, this is so amazing. Like, I've never seen that neighborhood before. I've never seen these, this area over here before. Like, it's like, and I've lived here for over 20 years. It's just amazing how there's just endless things to discover in this city, which is why I love it. This is why I love this city. Yeah. I know there's some people who love, and there is a part of me that loves to just be like I just wonder if I could ever just like live in like a mountain cabin and just be in the small town and just, do like the same kind of thing every day. I don't know if I could do that actually. I think it's like a fantasy, but I don't think it would be like actually a fulfilling reality.
Yeah.
So anyway, my thing is, which is what I love so much about being here in the city, is that there's always something new to discover. So a lot of times when I take Snowy for walks, because here in downtown, it's not like, like a forest for him to like run around in. So I try to keep him entertained by taking him on like different routes, like around the neighborhood. And luckily this neighborhood is so great. It's so walkable. And so, but I had been avoiding the street that goes this way. Like if you, like the front of the building, like if you go straight down, the one-way street, if you keep going down past the block. So I'd been avoiding going down that way because there was lots of construction over there, and then there was like not like a really nice sidewalk, and at night the lights are not really lit very well. So I'd always avoided it. But there's been so much construction there that it started, like they put in a nice sidewalk, they put in some street lamps. They're going to put in a Trader Joe's there. They're building this huge, like, it's either 300 or 3,000. I wouldn't doubt if it was 3,000 because the building is so big, like unit apartment building right there, like in a place that was not, in my old building, I would be able to see that building. And I saw when they tore it down, and now they're building it back up. And I just heard all this stuff about like all the things that they're going to offer there. And so he was like, sometimes I'm like, okay, I'll let him guide the way. I mean, I know you're supposed to be like the pack leader, but I'm not always the pack leader. Sometimes I just let him guide the way. And
Snowy.
Snowy.
Snowy the dog.
So Snowy wanted to walk that way. It was, an early evening and it was still light out. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, okay. And then I was like, oh, the new sidewalk, the new construction is happening. It looks like it's starting to finish up. And we kept walking and we we ran into, I cannot even believe the synchronicity of this because so one of my favorite, hard kombucha. I'm super into kombucha, and then recently really got into hard kombucha, especially hard kombucha that's on tap. And there's a lot of kombucha bars that are opening up. So, but I really like this one in Ojai. It's called Flying Embers, and it's a hard kombucha, and I usually buy it. And they opened up a Flying Embers kombucha brewery right down the street, and we ran into it. And I go in, and I'm like, is this the Flying Embers from Ojai? And they're like, yes, welcome. We go. It's like this huge, spacious, like you would never think from the street what it looks like. Because I've driven by it, and I always just like, oh, I wonder what that thing is, but I didn't know. Like sometimes I would see people sitting outside, but it didn't look like a big space. You go in, it's this huge space that just opens up. There's like a ping pong table, pool table. There's like games over there. There's like a swing. There's a DJ thing. There's picnic tables. I mean, it was huge like warehouse space that they converted into this big brewery. Wow. And it's a kombucha brewery. And then they also have, I believe they serve beer, but I don't know if they brew the beer there. But, and it was kind of open. It had been kind of early. Dogs are totally welcome in the place. Mm-hmm. Kids are totally welcome in the place because a lot of bars, you can't bring your kid. And they have this amazing, they don't actually serve food in there, which is why they can have dogs in there. But they have this amazing outdoor patio attached to this food truck that is right outside, that's like open to the inside of the brewery. And I was just like, I could not believe, like, I just stumbled upon this, like, amazing business, that, I mean, this just for me, it's so, I talk to Tiger about it all the time. It's like me just living here in this place where there's a wine bar across the street, there's a beer place down under on the bottom floor, and now there's a kombucha brewery right down the street. I'm like, how is this? And then there's the ramen place there. I'm like, is everything that is being built around here like meant for me?
Perfect. I know.
Like, why
like you are creating the space?
I was like, how am I this lucky? It's just like so, sometimes it's just so, I don't know, the way that things work out for me. So Snowy and I went in there into the brewery. The guy recommended this amazing new guava, is a guava peach or something. And it was so delicious, that they just have on tap. Yeah. The guy was so super friendly. And then I wanted to tell you, I went in there the other night again with Tiger, and I met the owner, and she was like, and we were just talking, and she was like, we're really interested in bringing in like a yoga instructor to come and teach some classes, teach a class like before we open, kind of like that Golden Road Brewery. We used to have a yoga and a beer event called Detox Retox. So where you do like a yoga practice and then you get like a free beer or something afterwards. Yeah. And they also had like a running club and stuff. And I was just like, that is so funny. So she was totally like, we would love to have, and I don't know if I have time, but like how convenient and amazing is that to like build, I don't know. So that was just an amazing,
so perfect.
I know. And I have to, it was my intuition, and it was also Snowy. I was like, thank you, Snowy, for showing me this new spot in the hood. And they're all the ones that told me everything about the building that was going on, that was going up, and the Trader Joe's that was going in. And then they were saying, oh, and Kanye West has been doing his Sunday service, in Atwater, in the Arts District. And I was like, that's what I see out my window on Sundays over there. Down there.
Oh, wow.
It's like, we saw them perform like a huge gospel choir on Halloween night. And then they did another one on New Year's Eve night. And then we just saw it last Sunday.
Oh, funny.
Again, because usually we're not here because Tiger has horse lessons. So usually we're up at the barn. But she wasn't feeling good this Sunday, and so we stayed down here. And I was like, look at all of the people going to, like, everybody dressed in black. Turns out it was Kanye West Sunday service. She actually took a video, and she swore she saw Kanye West in the video. I was like looking up, how do you get into the Sunday service? You have to be on the guest list.
Oh, you do? Oh, well, you can watch it from your house.
I know. I was like, I can watch it. It's right there. It's like down there in the parking lot. It's crazy.
That's so cool.
I know. So cool. So that's, so it was just, I live here, but I don't spend, or I don't know very many people personally who live here. So it was just so nice to connect with people who are just like telling me everything that was going on in my neighborhood.
Yeah, I love it. Oh my gosh. Every time I drive here too, there's so many great restaurants and little like wine bars and
I know.
Yeah, it's a great little spot.
It is a really, space. Yeah. So you have to check out that. We have to go down there sometime to the Kombucha brewery because it's so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
I know. Totally.
So funny. All right. So that sounds like a really great day one.
Yes.
Okay. So moving on to day 2, we do our meditation again, first thing, and then we visualize something that we desire, close your eyes, and draw or paint from that vision.
Yes. Okay.
So
what do you desire, Laura?
I know I'm definitely not an artist by any means or can draw very well. But I just let myself sort of, let my intuition lead the way, I guess. But so I drew, there's like a big tree with deep roots and there's like hearts and stars inside the tree and there's a house right next to it because I feel like this really, really deep yearning recently for like home and family. Like I feel like that is like sort of this thing that's been surrounding me lately. Like a real strong desire for it.
Yeah.
So this is like sort of what just came out. Like I just feel like I'm really, really been thinking about like where I want to like establish roots and like settle down and ideally start a relationship and some sort of family, whatever that looks like for me. But so that's kind of what this all represents.
Wow, that's such a huge.
Oh my gosh, it's so interesting.
Yeah,
and it kind of comes back around to something we'll talk about later. But so that is the thing that's in me recently that just feels so strong.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So wait, so your drawing represents, did you do this with your eyes closed or no?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I did mine with my eyes closed.
You did?
Yeah. I mean, it's not great, but.
Oh yeah. No, I just sort of I did the meditation and then I just let myself draw with my eyes open. But so it's just, and really just like this very strong sense of like love. I just felt like my heart was like so open. So I just like have this like a little picture of a house with like a giant heart. And then there's a tree because I can see this tree. I see it in my mind. Like I see this little office that I'm working in and I'm like writing and then I take a little break and there's like a door that just slides open and there's a tree there that I can just sit under. And like,
I love it.
Reset. So I've for like years I've had this image of this tree. So it's just there's a giant tree outside of the house, and I feel like the tree represents not only like just like being close to the house, but like these deep roots. Like I'm really trying to like establish my just self heal. Like I really want to get some stronger, a stronger sense of self, deeper roots within myself, and then my partner too. I want them to feel that way.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what the tree represented for me, like just like letting myself like shine. Kind of what the stars represent. Let's just like let yourself sort of like or more around this idea of light, like love and light and goodness. I think is what I really, really desire most right now.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna happen. I totally see it for you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my gosh, just because of how much I've seen you change and evolve and get so much more grounded, I feel like, in the time that I've known you.
Really?
Yeah, and open up,
Yeah.
I totally see that.
Yeah, thank you. So we'll see. But yeah, that was definitely what came through the strongest for me. So
that's so great.
Yeah.
Okay, well mine is, so I did it with my with my eyes closed. So and I tried to like I just did it in my pencil. I know, so funny. Stars and hearts. So mine represents like a relationship or a partnership that grows, that actually is about growth, about self-growth, about growth within the relationship, about So I guess it's kind of like a foundation, but it's really like, to me, I'm looking for, I'm looking for somebody to grow with. And it's not necessarily like grow a family or grow, even like a house or anything. It's more like grow with each other, like have like that mirror, with you, that you can, that I can see myself in ways that I wouldn't normally be able to see myself just being by myself, and like really like have that as like a reflection that I can work with, and like just in the same, like hopefully to be the same for somebody else as well. Yeah. So I don't know what that looks like exactly, or what that, like I don't have an actual physical vision. I just have like, I just was right when I was drawing it, I was drawing this, this line that progressively inclined upward, representing growth. But it was like a squiggly line, meaning that it's not like a linear. I'm not looking for like a linear path. I'm looking for like a squiggly path that just grows gradually, that just grows. Yeah. So, like just from a realistic perspective, like looking for that type of relationship that honors all of the ups and downs that are inevitable. Yeah. And but to have this like commitment to self-growth and growth of the relationship, which allows the ups and downs just to be played out as you are continuing to grow with each other. Yep. So mine was a relationship that grows. And then and then on the top was like little stars and little specks of like fairy dust. And then but on the bottom I really wanted to also represent like X's and like kind of like blobs, as far as like to also really acknowledge the the shadow, as far as like the shadow, or like maybe the things that seem like that are hard, that are there to like work through, that you work through together. So having like the balance of both basically is what I really am interested in experiencing with somebody.
Oh, I love that. I love the squiggly lines too. They look so great, because I think it is so true. I feel like I fall into this, where you have this expectation that if you're growing together, it's just like going to be this like,
linear incline.
Incline, and it never is. So I love that.
I know. And I think that it's so nice to be in a place where like I know I have other friends who are single and who are like really trying to like have babies and families and stuff, and it's just so nice to be in a place where I'm not in a hurry, like there's no real pressure for it, and so it's such a relaxed place to just see what comes up, and to just trust in the perfect timing of things, and just to know that the journey of opening myself up is also a gift. Yeah. Is also part of the, I guess the destination is like or part of the reward of even having this kind of desire, is to just see myself start to really like open myself up in ways that I just don't think I've ever done before. Yeah. Yeah. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, so it's great.
So great.
I know.
Oh, by the way, I keep seeing 2s this week, like 222.
Really?
Yes, 2s are following me around, so I'm not sure what that means. But
I'm getting lots of 111s and 1111s.
Oh, you are? Oh,
but 2s are supposed to mean something. You should look it up. I think it's like some sort of angel number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so day 3, we are listening and writing or drawing with eyes closed. What does my life need most right now?
Yes.
All right. Well, so mine, it kind of circles back to my day 1 sort of revelation. But I really feel like I need more adventure, more fun, more play, laughter, experience, changing things up, just like fresh and new, like just something in terms of like playfulness needs to be added into my life. Yeah. I need more fun, and I need to figure out a way, because I just tell myself, I'm like, well, I'm just not good at fun. And I know that sounds like so Debbie Downer, but
That's a very limiting belief. Yes.
It is a limiting belief for sure. But like, you're really good at being like, planning days, and like thinking ahead. Like I don't think ahead. Like the day of, I'll be like, what should I do today? Like if I have the day off or whatever.
Right.
So it's like I just never like think ahead to like think about what fun thing could I plan for this weekend,
Right,
or whatever.
right.
So
have
I
you always been
that way? Yeah.
Even when you were a kid though, or like teenager or 20s?
No. I definitely knew how to have fun. Like I definitely had a lot of fun in my childhood, in my teens. But yeah, I feel like in adulthood, something in me like turned serious.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I just have not been able to, I just don't experience it the way that I used to, or like little adventures. Even like, I was like, I would love to go to Disneyland.
Oh my gosh.
So I was like, I gotta plan an adventure to Disneyland.
You totally should. It's so funny.
So
when I had to go to Disneyland, I'm like not a Disneyland amusement park person. When I had to take Tiger to Disneyland, the few times that I went, I was just like looking at the people who were there that didn't have kids. And I'm like, why are you here? But you're one of those people.
I got one of those people. Yes. Like I actually worked at Disney.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
Yes.
It's like not me at all.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That for sure is what's been coming through. And I think it circles back to day one in just the sense of like, I feel like I was being shown like there's so much opportunity for like fun and adventure and newness and trying new things. I think I also need to get out of like the space of, I always need to like find like a group of people to do it with. Like,
right.
I guess more of like doing like things independently for fun could be an option as well. Like I've never even considered that. Like I always thought like, I have to do it with a friend, and if a friend's not available, then I just won't do it.
Right.
When in reality, like that's just not how it works as you get older, because people have a lot of commitments as they get older.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. I think that's probably the Aquarius South Node. I'm just thinking about you astrologically. Your Aquarius South Node, it just thinks that like you should always just need to be in a group to do things. But lean into that Leo and just kind of like be that playful, independent spirit. I know I always tell my daughter too that when she's like, oh, this is boring. I'm like, the only reason why it's boring is because you're boring. Like you,
it's
like
true
it's
though,
your,
but,
it's
like,
your responsibility. Your experience is your responsibility. Like you don't need to like rely on other people or other scenarios or situations. Like it's all within you,
right?
Like you attribute it to a certain circumstance or situation where that it might be easier, but really it's always within you.
Yeah.
It's you're the one that brings it to the table, whatever that is. But not to say that there aren't preferences. Some people prefer to just do things in groups. Some people prefer to be a part of a group. It's like it's easier, you like that group dynamic, like whatever. I think that's that preference is totally fine. But if you are looking for more fun, then all you have to look is like within yourself.
Right. Yeah, I think for me, it's like I spend so much time like working, from home or doing things independently, just like in my everyday life, that like I know some people it's the opposite, where they have kids and husbands or whatever, and it's like they want partners and they want to break away and be alone, and I'm the opposite. I'm like, give me people. So but it's so true. That doesn't have to be a reason that I stop myself from having fun.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you can just create your own group, invite people and see who's available or who can come, and if not, like for me, I always, when I don't think I necessarily need a group to have fun, but I know that when I do want to do something with somebody, I just invite as many people that I can, and then whoever is available will go. And if nobody is available, then I just know that means I just do it by myself.
Yeah. That's a good way to do it. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. That's so funny that you said that, because my thing, I mean, as much as you think that I have fun and I'm adventurous, I'm actually feel like what I need right now is an adventure.
Oh, okay.
Maybe because I'm just one of those people that needs to like at least like get out of town like once a month, like it's just like I'm very into breaking things up. Like I'm not, even though I'm a Virgo, I'm very not into routine. I get so bored with routine. That's why I could never do the 9 to 5 thing.
Yeah.
Even at school, going to school every day at the same time was so boring to me. I love my co-parenting schedule with JV because it's always like every week is different with Tiger. And so I'm kind of like, what's my next adventure going to be? Because like last year, I think I went to the desert almost every single month. And I was actually thinking about finding a place out there. But the thing is that I feel like if I had a place out there that I would be bored going just there all the time.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
that's the hard part for me as far as like really finding like a second location as far as like a vacation or like a spot, because I was going out there so much that it was starting to be like ridiculous. Like, why didn't I have a place instead of like always paying for, a place? But since then I've kind of eased up on that. But yeah, so I'm looking for, so this is what I wrote down. I was like, what does my life need right now? An adventure, a romance. I was like, with everything being so great right now, because I do feel like everything is pretty great. The only thing I feel like is missing is a little adventure, or at least one to look forward to. So even for me, I'm one of those that loves to plan, and that even that act of planning makes me feel like I'm on an adventure already.
I love
that. It's the beginning.
Yeah.
The planning is the beginning of the adventure.
Okay.
Like my, like that's what they say with ayahuasca, because I really want to do an ayahuasca trip. Probably either Mexico or Costa Rica. I just actually heard of this place in Colombia too, but I eventually sometime soon want to do some sort of ayahuasca trip. And they're like, and I've been thinking about it for so long, but they were saying that your ayahuasca journey begins when you start thinking about it. So I feel like I'm already on the journey, and now it's just about, finding which way or which outlet or, the details of how it's actually going to come about. So I feel this way too, just with adventure in general. So, and then I finally really feel ready for romance. Because I finally took the plunge into the online dating thing, and I finally went on an actual, I told my brother this morning. I was like, I went on my first online date this week. And, my brother is like, he met his wife, on match.com,
really?
he's so good at it. He's so experienced with it. So unlike me, and I'm so slow with it, but, so I feel like I'm moving in that direction just by putting myself out there and opening myself to that type of scenario, which I was not open to for a long time or ever, I don't think. So what did I say? So finally took that plunge into online dating and actually met someone pretty interesting.
Yes.
Not romantic yet, but still very interesting. So we'll see. That's what that's what I'm looking for, is an adventure, possible romance, but definitely something like, I don't know, not like a big trip anywhere, because I feel like there's so much work to do right now, but like a small, maybe even just like going to the beach or something for the day, right?
Yeah. I know.
We should go.
Just like a weekend away.
We should do something. A
a
weekend away. Exactly.
Yeah.
I know.
Like a road trip. That's kind of what I've been craving. I'm like, this spring I want to go on a road trip somewhere, even if it's just like Santa Barbara or something, not far, but like.
Or you should go to the desert. You haven't gone to the desert.
I haven't gone. Yeah, I've never been to Joshua Tree.
I can't believe you've never. See, I am going in March because I'm going with Brandon to a we're doing like this sacred plant botanical tour of the Mojave Desert. I have no idea what it is. Yeah. Brandon was just like, you got to come with this to me. And I looked it up and I was like, it looks amazing. So we're just going for the day, but it's like going to be hiking around Joshua Tree. And with this guide, he's this amazing guide who's also really good looking, but this amazing guide who is going to be showing us, because I've always been interested in knowing how to identify plants as far as which ones are edible, which ones are like this, which ones are poisonous, which ones have these qualities. And so he's actually going to guide us through our desert hike that day and show us which plants or teach us about the plants, teach us about the native plants there and the medicinal qualities of them.
Wow.
I know.
That's great.
It sounds super interesting. So I will be going there, but that's not until March. But March is only a couple weeks away.
It's literally like halfway through February.
I know. I am a craver of adventure.
I know. Well, I feel ya. We are really on the same page with that.
Okay.
Okay. So day 4. All right. Ask yourself a question before your meditation and notice if there are any insights or answers that day. If not, ask yourself the same question before you go to sleep. And in the morning, notice if any insight or answers were revealed. So, for me, my theme has been around home. So, and I think it's because also, my housemate is moving out. So I'm trying to figure out should I look for a new person or should I where am I going or what would be next for me? I think right now I can't really see where I would go in the immediate future. So I feel like I'm going to stay where I'm at, but kind of want to give myself 6 months and try to figure out where is next.
Yeah.
But I say I can't see it, but I feel like I can see it. I'm just not letting myself see it.
Yeah.
Because it feels like such a big step. I don't know where I would go. From where I'm at right now to getting there feels like I don't know how it could happen, but
right. But isn't that what they say? It's not up to you to know how.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe that's why I'm feeling into it very strongly, but
yeah.
So I basically my question is, where is home? Where am I supposed to establish my roots? And I feel like I was just kind of feeling into it. I did get so I've really always been so drawn to the Central Coast. I think I've told you about this.
I was just talking to somebody about the Central Coast. Sorry, I'm looking up your chart. I want to see what's ruling your 4th house.
Oh, what's my 4th house?
Is
again?
home.
Is home. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like part of that is
oh my God, your sun and your North Node are in the 4th house.
Really?
Yes.
So it's Leo.
Leo is ruling your 4th house. So I would say that just following your Leo is going to lead you home.
Oh my God. Okay. So this is so interesting you say that, because what came through in the meditation is find home inside of yourself.
Yes.
So basically it's getting home inside of myself will lead me to my external home.
Exactly.
So that's what I really need to be working on right now. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that's
was so
amazing.
funny. Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway.
Wait, so what were we saying right before that? We were talking about the Central Coast.
So Santa Barbara has always been in my heart. And it was just funny because I was thinking about that. And then I saw a friend post on social media that her, I think her husband or something had just been accepted into the Santa Barbara Film Festival. So I was just thinking about Santa Barbara, and then that popped up. But even, that could have just been a weird, well, probably not. I don't know. But
I know. Isn't this so funny how we just jump to discount it?
In my body, it feels so good. I just want to honor that, again,
I could totally
going
see
into
you there.
clairsentience,
yes.
It feels, there is a sense of calm and peace when I think about it. So it feels like it's a good sign.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's where you should take your next road trip as far as your next adventure. Yeah. One of my yoga clients, Shelly, just moved up to Los Osos. She's been living in Silver Lake for over 40 years, she said. And she just, when I was up there right before the holidays, when I went up to Paso Robles, I was emailing her and she was like, I am literally 45 minutes towards the coast from where I was. And I was going to go, but it was pouring down rain that day and I was worried about traffic coming back. But everybody, I stayed at this little winery. Everybody there was telling me about Los Osos and about some Montaña de Oro, this mountain, I guess, that overlooks the ocean. That's this beautiful hike, and they call it the Golden Mountain, and it's just supposedly just so beautiful, and and Shelly was telling me about it too, and she says that she lives it's right behind her house, and so she is just loving it up there. And then I was just talking to somebody else this morning about it, and they were like, oh yeah, Central Coast, like Los Osos is so beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, I'll have to check that out.
I've never heard of it. I've never heard of it either, but it's near Morro Bay.
Okay.
And I've been to Morro Bay, and it's beautiful there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe this is where my adventure is leading me.
Yeah.
Where to go just
because
like the weekend.
it's so great because it's not all the way up in Northern California yet.
Yeah.
So it's not too
doable.
far away from LA as far as like if you still wanted to come back and forth, but like just so beautiful. Yes. and so almost untouched, in a way. I think Morro Bay is pretty touristy, but I feel like Los Osos, because nobody knows about it right now. Shelly is so happy about it. She loves it there.
Oh, that's so exciting.
I know.
That's good to know.
That's so interesting, Central Coast. I didn't know that you were thinking about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was my original intention when I moved out to California, was to go out there. I never thought I'd be in LA, but anyway, I mean,
Denise is moving up there. My therapist moved up there. Like so many people have moved up to Santa Barbara during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. We'll see.
I know. Wow. I can totally see you up there. So what I did was ask myself a question before I went to sleep. And my question was, with this new person that I don't know if I'm romantically attracted to at all, but I'm definitely like mentally attracted to, as far as like the conversation and personality. So my question was, what's going to happen with this person? Like it's just because it's such a big question mark as far as it could really go either way. Like I could totally see myself just like never talking to him again, or I could see it like actually like progressing. Like I could, maybe one day being attracted to him. I don't know. Yeah. I have this like weird, I'm really discovering so much about myself as far as this dating process, because I'm realizing that that I don't think I've ever really just initially been attracted to anybody that I was in a relationship with. I've always known them for a fairly long time before it turned into anything romantic. Yeah. But apparently that's kind of a strange thing, which I didn't know. I just didn't even know, like, I couldn't really remember, but now it's making me really look at myself and being like, is that actually like a make or break thing if you have chemistry or not on the first date, or like it would be for most people, or but for some reason it's not for me. Yeah. So also so that was my question before I went to sleep. And I kind of feel like the answer was that it's just the beginning, but not just the beginning with this person. Like it's just the beginning of my dating journey. Yeah. I see. Okay. So like, just because this was like the first person and it happened to be really interesting, it doesn't necessarily, like there wasn't a clear definitive thing like this is the person. It was more just like, this is the beginning. Yeah. What does that mean? What does that mean? Is it the beginning of a romance, or is it the beginning of what? But I just have to take it.
Just gotta trust that you don't. I really believe when you're supposed to know, you'll know.
I do too. Yeah, I do too. And I trust in the timing of things. And I'm so like happy to be in the place that I am as far as being like the healing work that I've done, the self work and the growth that's happened just this past year. It's like I've never felt even on the non-romantic date that I was on, that was for like 3 hours, I just felt myself showing up in a completely different way. Like I felt myself showing up in a way that was like so much like more true to me and authentic to me than I've ever felt with, or I ever can remember feeling with anybody else. I always feel like I was really good at playing this role of like acting like somebody that I think that they would think that they would want me to be.
Yes. I did the same exact thing. Yes.
It's like it's so mind-boggling to me that I did that for so long.
Yeah, I literally have to go into dates reminding myself like, you just have to be yourself. You just have to be yourself. Gosh. It's so weird.
It's so weird. You're like, what what is up with that self-abandonment?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
What is up with like needing that approval or needing that and I see it. I do see it with some of my other friends who are online dating. I see it like the need to be chosen. The need to be chosen, like almost like regardless of whether or not you choose them.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Oh, that's interesting. I know.
I can't believe it. I can't believe that. I mean, the younger me is just mind-boggling.
I think everyone can relate to that. But
I hope so.
Dating is so eye-opening. I feel like anyway.
I know, which is why I'm so happy to be doing it.
Yeah.
It's like finally, because just even that one experience has like has revealed so much about myself.
Yeah.
To me, that's just been like, it's just.
Oh, good.
It's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well, final day, day 5, is to remember a time when you did not listen to your intuition or gut. Journal the situation and remember what you felt and why you think you ignored your intuitive guidance. So this was super interesting for me because it has to do with with like relationship and home, like my prior home in Chicago.
Oh.
I bought a condo with my ex. It was my ex-fiance at the time, but yeah, I did. Like everything in me did not feel comfortable with the decision, and I did it anyways. So it's so interesting to me that like this theme of home is coming back up because I knew, and it was. I didn't even know from the space itself, but it was the whole process of getting a mortgage and what I was investing in, because it was right before the 2008 crash, basically when they were giving anybody mortgages. And so my ex at the time was in, he was like a mortgage broker. And so he knew all the ins and outs and ways around stuff. And I just felt like I was getting into something like, can I afford this? Are we like playing the system? It just did not feel comfortable to me at all. And I still did it. Like I ended up doing it because I think I ignored my intuition because he was so excited about it.
Right.
And
I mean, that's a hard position
to be in. Yeah. So then it was just like, then the market crashed, and then it ended up being that the place was a complete money pit. Like we had to replace the floors a couple times because we found out that the building, after we moved in, there was all these like special assessments that came, like tens of thousands of dollars, because the building wasn't structured or built properly. So we would get flooding all the time. We had to replace the floor. I mean, it was just like one thing after another with this place. So I feel like that was kind of like my gut being like, don't do it.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
But when you put yourself in that position, so I always feel like when big things like that happen, there's always been little things all along that we're signaling.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So even to be put in that position, I mean, that's almost like an impossible position when you're with a partner who's so excited and you have just gone along with it all the way up until the very end, when you're like really feeling like, no, but you can't at that time. It's like too late, right? The momentum is gone in that direction versus like, what if like, you really, I don't know, did you have a sense of intuition before you guys even started looking, or before you even like really, I mean, signed any paperwork?
I think it's much bigger than, I think it was beyond the condo. It was like the relationship itself I was getting pings about. So it was like, it's all wrapped up together. So
exactly. I know that's usually how it is.
So, but it's interesting now that like I'm really focusing on, what's coming through so strongly is this idea of home and relationship. Yeah. And like, that was the thing that automatically popped up with me, was home and relationship, of when I didn't trust myself before, when I didn't listen to my intuition. So now I feel like it's like kind of coming back sort of full circle, and knowing that I can like trust myself now, because I know what happens. Like I've had the experience of it, and I've had and I know how my intuition speaks to me now, and I know that I can like trust myself enough, or I hope I can.
I know. Well, that's so exciting. That's so exciting, is that you actually get to show up in a completely different way. And it's exciting, but it's also nerve-wracking, because you're like, wait, I don't know how to show up in a completely different way, because this is the only way that I've ever known to do it. But it's like you get another opportunity to do it to show up
different way.
in a completely different way.
Yeah.
And that's
it's
going to be great.
It is. It's just like so cyclical. I feel like
Yes,
a lot of times. So it's just like, no, it's
interesting?
coming back around again. I can feel it's coming back around again.
Yeah.
And now I get to choose a different way to
choose
approach
a different
it.
way because you're so much more conscious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's so great.
So.
Well, mine was like, I mean, gosh, I mean, my whole, I think, well, no, I can't say like my whole life because obviously I came here, I did, you know, but definitely probably, you know, what is it with relationships? I don't know. Maybe it's just, I feel like maybe as women growing up in the era that we did with the parents that we had and the role models that they played and the pressure that we were under to be a certain way and to make certain choices. I mean, I think like we have some similarities there. So I think like we're just not the society. I think it's changing, which is so great, but I don't think that any of us, I don't know very many people who were actually had the support of like really just finding their own way and being their own person. And so it's so easy to fall into those roles where you're just like a people pleaser, or you're just trying to maintain the status quo, or you're just trying to fulfill somebody else's expectations. So many times, I mean, it was just even like, it's hard to choose one.
Yeah.
One time when I didn't listen to my intuition. But I would say the most recent one was, and I remember this so clearly, in my last dating situation, there was, you know, I guess so many, I guess you could call them red flags, but that I just did not listen to, that I just did not, or that I just excused, that I just didn't see, or I saw, but I just ignored. And I just remember one time specifically where I was just so exhausted from either being with Tiger, running around, and I just wanted to be like, I was so happy to have a night alone, you know, to have a night alone, to be at my place, which I was rarely at. My last place, I was like hardly ever there. I was there maybe like 1 or 2 nights a week, you know. And I was so excited just to teach my yoga class from home and then just stay home and just to be like, have a night in and be alone and just try to get some sleep and try to just relax and enjoy being in my place. And the person that I was dating at the time wanted me to come over. And I was like, I don't know. I just said, like, he convinced me to say yes. And so then when I committed to doing it, this is just representative of so many moments where I didn't listen to myself, you know? And I remember being like, in my mind was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I really don't want to go. But I was like saying the opposite to him, you know?
Right.
And I was doing the opposite. You know, I was like packing my stuff. I don't want to go. Right. I don't want to go. I'm packing my stuff. I don't want to go. I really don't want to go. I'm going. Why am I going? I'm going, you know? And so even like walking out the door or walking to the elevator, I was just like, I really don't want to go. I really don't feel like going. Why am I going? It was so like, and there's so many moments of those, so many of those moments that eventually culminated in so much like kind of just like heartbreak and suffering because I had just overgiven. Yeah. You know, my energy, my time, and it was like, for what? You know, like, for I'd overgiven to the extent, and I'd made the same mistake in my previous relationship too. I'd overgiven to the extent that I had become resentful. And that resentment, not because because it's selfish, because I was giving because I was expecting something in return. You know, it's like, that's like the worst way to be giving. And so I was giving thinking like, oh, well, this will be reciprocated, you know, versus just like giving just to like for the love of giving myself. But I was doing it and I was going against what I really wanted to do, but thinking that it would turn out okay in the long run because it would eventually be reciprocated, and it just never was. Yeah. And then the resentment builds, and then, you know, and then all this conflict starts to come up, and the conflict that comes up is never like, you're never trying to work out what the real issue
Yes.
is.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
it's always
yep.
like these surface things that
Yep.
you think that are excused. And I still think to this day that person probably thinks it's like some sort of surface thing, where I already know that it was my habit of continually not listening to my intuition, continually abandoning myself, that created all of this, you know,
Yeah.
drama and suffering for myself.
Right.
So that's
Right.
another motivation. Like, just knowing that, I'm like, obviously I'm not going to do that again.
Do that next time. I know. That's so great. And like now you're going into dating again, and like you know this, right?
Exactly.
It's coming back around.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for another opportunity, you know,
Yes.
or just to even, I'm just even grateful just to have the awareness, because I just didn't. And it was so, I mean, one of the things that I feel like actually helped me get to being ready and get to being open is that I had like one final release of that previous scenario, when I accidentally stumbled over a bunch of messages that we had gone through back and forth. Like, it was from like a couple years ago. And I was so emotional reading these messages, because I was reading what I had written, and it was just, I just felt so sad for that person. I felt so sad for that earlier me, that I was the one that was keeping the whole thing together. You know, like, what was I doing?
Yeah.
Like, it was so, I mean, I think at that time I was playing it off, I was interpreting it as like it was empowering to have that type of control. But really it wasn't, because like I said, I just had been not listening to my intuition, and I was like fighting for something that I thought would be reciprocated. I thought that the energy would be reciprocated, and it never was. It was like maybe like little pieces here and there, almost like you know, like you're stringing along somebody.
Yeah. Right.
You know, so that was like, that was enough.
Like
and I always
crumb.
like, I know. And I always like prided myself on being like, oh, I'm not a needy person. I don't need that much. I'm super self-reliant, you know, all this stuff. But the fact of the matter is that if I'm in a relationship with somebody, I'm just going to be, I just want to like be a giver, but I just don't want to, you know, I don't want to be an overgiver. You know, we're an overgiver, meaning like somebody that is going to eventually be resentful if it's not, if you don't feel like it's being given in return.
Right.
So that was my big, huge mistake, and or a gazillion of those mistakes. And I'm happy to know that.
Now you have the
Happy
awareness
to
of
have
it.
that awareness of it.
Yeah.
And happy to help heal that older self, or that, you know, old self that was actually doing that.
Yes.
Because I really felt so sad for her.
Yeah. Oh,
I know. And
so
also unbelievable. Like, I was like, what was I doing? Who is that person? And I'm so happy about that, because I know I'm not that person now.
yeah. Oh, it's so good. So good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Really
I
interesting.
love it.
But I think that healing and that release really opened me up to like to finding, you know, I don't know,
Something new,
maybe.
Yeah. So exciting.
I know.
So exciting. All right. Well, that is our 5-day challenge for Pisces season, cultivating your intuition, everybody. So try this one out. It's super interesting. I feel like it definitely went a place I did not think it would go. Like, and I kind of followed a path and it circled back. So it'll be interesting. You know, who knows what adventure this could take you on, what you discover within yourself.
Yeah.
So,
What comes up for you?
yes. Thanks for joining us.
Yes. Good luck with it, everybody.
All right, everybody. We'll see you again next month.
All right. Thanks, Laura.
Bye. Thanks,
Bye.
Koopy.